Wow, holy cow! I just pocketed a whopping $48 today. That's basically 50 bucks. Now, if I can just repeat this 300 days a year, then that's like $15,000 every year, which is exactly enough to still be broke. And of course, the IRS wants their cut. The IRS is basically Satan. That's gonna knock me down to less than $1,000 every month. But what if I told you I made that money on a Sunday where I slept in until 9:15 in the morning and that I did no work? Well, except being inspired to write this script for a video. Alright, so I'm sitting in this 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,150 square foot house in Florida. Not on the beach, but close to the coast. I can get to the beach in like 10 minutes. I wake up, I read through the bids that I got from 3 general contractors to do a total house makeover. At long last, I pick one. He was tied with one other for being the cheapest. I don't always necessarily recommend you pick the cheapest general contractor when you're taking bids, but in this case, I think it was a good idea. I was expecting these renovations to run somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000. And as renovations will always do, they cost a little more than I was expecting. Spoiler alert, the $48 was not me negotiating with the contractors or doing any of the work myself. Like I said before, picking the cheapest contractor isn't always what I recommend, but this guy came by when I was available at home to talk to me in person, and he explained to me that while, yes, my countertops were not the fanciest marble or granite, and the ceilings weren't flat, that he didn't really think those improvements were necessary based on the touch-up work he'd been doing in that exact neighborhood and the neighborhood across the street for rentals. Which makes sense to me. I think that generally people with enough kids to want a 4-bedroom house aren't going to be obsessed with keeping up with the Joneses. This gentleman, as well as the other 2 contractors, had all come very highly recommended by property management companies because they help maintain the rentals they manage. This means they have insight into what is appropriate for rental properties in the local market. He was the only one who found ways to save me money. The other 2 didn't. Now, this might look sketch. Maybe he just wants to trick me into hiring him. That's a fair point. However, he also pointed out to me some things that are going to cost more money that I should do. Like replacing the terribly aged light fixtures in front of the house, or telling me that for this one leaky pipe over the laundry room, he couldn't really give a good price estimate until he gets up in there to fix it in the first place. So he actually added work as well. Not as much as he took away, but to me this certainly insinuates honesty. One of the interesting things he did to save me money was that he removed the new stainless steel appliances from the bid. He explained to me that his team would just hook them up and that I could use free shipping from Lowe's or Home Depot to avoid having to pay a general contractor's markup for the same task. His markup, his extra 10% profit margin, but instead, it's going back to me. This is a professional who cares more about the result and doing good work than squeezing every dime out of you they can physically get their hands on. But wait, you say, doesn't that mean the price difference is really just the appliances? Well, yes and no. The appliances total $2,400 from Lowe's with free delivery. That's a microwave, an electric stove, a refrigerator, and a dishwasher all as one set. Matching brand names and all of that. So that really makes the total more like $18,000, which makes sense given the other work that he removed. Honestly, the contractor that bid $19,000 has a 1-star rating from the Better Business Bureau, so I don't really trust his numbers, especially when the only other bids for all of the exact same work was $7,000 more. Now, you might be thinking, this is where I made $48 without lifting a finger. Nope. I am abundantly certain this house will still rent with the exact same price, even with these reduced renovations. And I am saving $5,000, which means I now have an emergency fund or closing costs for another house. It also improves my cash-on-cash return for the property, which honestly isn't stellar, but it's still pretty good. No, where I made the $48 is when I paid for these appliances using my Citibank Double Cashback card. It gives 2% cash back on all purchases, which is where the $48 comes from. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's gas or groceries for a week. And if you apply this to basically every purchase you make, it can really add up. Yes, you're losing money when you pay the 1 billion% interest to the bank on a credit card, but I only buy things with a credit card that I would be buying without a credit card anyway, and I pay the balance off in full every single month, or more often, because if you try to wait 30 days, you are more likely to accidentally carry a balance, which you should basically never do with a credit card. Carrying a balance is why some people think that credit cards are the devil. This brings us to the second part of this video. Hopefully, I've convinced any skeptics out there that credit cards are good. Just don't buy anything more than what you would do anyway, and then pay it off every single month. With that said, I thought it would be prudent of me to share some credit cards that I would recommend as a result. Let's start with 2 that I recommend for people with bad credit or no credit. So, if you're like 18 and fresh out of high school, or if you've just unfortunately destroyed your credit, these 2 are for you. Or maybe if you just finished college recently, if this is you, don't feel bad. It took me a little while to understand credit too, because my parents never taught me, and schools don't seem to cover that either. Anyway, first, I'd recommend the Discover It Secured Credit Card. This is because it has no annual fee, which I just generally prefer in a credit card, and it even offers cash back, which is extremely rare in a secured credit card. It will net you 2% cash back on up to $1,000 of purchases and 1% on everything after that. Also, Discover will automatically review your account to upgrade it to a non-secured card after 8 months. Now, since it's a secured card, that means there's a minimum deposit to secure the credit line, which in this case is $200 minimum, and that must come from a bank account digitally. This way, you can get the secured card, pay no annual fee, get cash back, which is absolutely ridiculous on a secured card, and not even have to think about getting a normal credit card afterwards, because all of that is being taken care of for you in the background. Secondarily, I'd recommend the Capital One Secured MasterCard. This is mostly just because the minimum deposit is only $49, but that should get you a $200 credit line. So it's kind of like you're able to leverage your cash to get a credit line to build your credit, to where then, once you've proven you're responsible with your money, you can leverage your cash even more to make more money. I don't own this card personally, but that's my understanding of the fine print. No rewards and no automatic upgrade to a regular credit line, but still no annual fee, and it'll get your foot in the door for relatively little cash. Now, if your credit isn't brand new and it hasn't been dragged through the mud, the two main cards that I recommend above all others are very easy to pick out. The Discover It Cashback card and the card featured earlier in this video, the Citibank Double Cash card. The Discover It card gives you 1% cash back on everything for all time, plus 5% cash back on revolving categories every quarter, which you do have to go activate, but the really cool part is that all of the cash back you get in the first year will be doubled at the end of the first year. This is a great way to set yourself to get a lump sum that you can invest right away. It also has no annual fee, which means it still remains a pretty good card even after your cashback match has expired. The Citibank Double Cashback card is the one that I default to for most any purchase, and it gives you 1% back when you make a purchase and another 1% when you pay it off, all with no annual fee. And this 2% total cash back lasts for all eternity or until the apocalypse. Or Citibank closes, which it won't. That's kind of like AutoZone or Walmart closing. It's an inevitability, but not something you need to concern yourself with. By the time it happens, we'll probably both be gone. Ideally, if you have neither of these cards, I would start with the Discover It Cashback card and then get the Citibank Double Cash card after a year. That is exactly what I did. Links are in the description. I have no ulterior motive for any of these cards. The links below are not affiliate links, and this video isn't sponsored. If I miss any other credit cards that are really awesome, please tell me about them in the comments. I only have 8 of them, so obviously my knowledge is not all-encompassing. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.